Susie, are you there? It's Erin.
Hey, Erin, I can hear you.
Yay!
Yay. And I can change presenters.
Cool.
Hey Susie, this is Soraya. I'm also here.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for making the transition. Charlie.
Hi, Charlie.
Ta-da! Hi, Erin. Hi, Susie. Look at that.
This is way different from Zoom.
Got screens all over the place. It's me.
All right. Hi, Gina. I actually don't know. Okay, for those of you that aren't organizers for the webinar, or do you have a control panel? Does everybody have a control panel? And then you have a little, oh, there's a little pop-out thing, Becca.
Is Becca here? I don't see her. Oh, what is
Becca,
that?
you're an attendee. It didn't join you as staff, which is where you need to be able to do the other things. That's very strange. But Erin, Erin, do you still have, wait, what am I looking at? Yeah. Oh, Erin's in both. Okay. There's Becca. So Alexandra and Brenda, Becca, what did you do did you go out and log back in? Join again?
Can
Should not be this on.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yes, I went to my email and there was a link that said, hey, you were added as a speaker. And I clicked that rather than just logging in. Sorry for the mess, y'all.
Yeah, we learned something new today.
Mhm.
Sorry, y'all were the victim of that learning that happened.
Oh, I see what's happening. There's my face. All right.
Hey.
It looks like you showered.
I did.
Me too.
Now that I got my vaccine.
Oh, good job.
Hey, y'all, this is Soraya. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Okay, so I can't see anyone, and it sounds like y'all can see each other. So maybe.
I can only see the people that have turned on their webcams or their computer cameras.
I'm trying to turn on my camera, and it's just scrolling. So maybe I need to move somewhere and plug in to internet. So that might be a me issue. But at least you can hear me.
We can hear you. I'm going to send a webcam request to you, Soraya, see what happens.
I got the request and I accepted.
But it didn't do anything.
It's still scrolling. Yeah, I think it might be my bandwidth. Oh, darn. Okay, well, I will be listening and quickly relocating.
So that means I need to pull up your presentation. All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and start, and you guys stop me if we need to do something different with like what you can see and hear and that kind of thing. I think attendees, you'll be able to use questions. Everybody else will be able to use chat and questions. But I think we're good to get started. So welcome everybody to the December Tarrant County Food Policy Council meeting. Thank you for being here. We are going to go ahead and get started since we're running a little bit late. We're going to start with some officer reports. I don't have anything to say except I'm thankful that you all are here and that we figured out the technology, at least mostly. And we learned something new, and I am honored that you let me be the chair of the Food Policy Council for a couple of years. And I'm looking forward to supporting Becca, or our new chair. Becca's the person running for the chair position in that role as the past chair. And we will be doing some voting later on, so be ready for that. But we also have a presentation in just a few minutes from Erin Starr White. So Becca, do you have anything you want to add right now?
I do not have anything at this moment.
Okay. And I know our Secretary Harrison is not with us today. We have Destiny Lane, who's our Vista member, is taking notes for us. And I saw Brenda, Treasurer Brenda, in the other category of people. Brenda, do you have anything you want to put in the questions for us today? Okay. Those of you that are, just as a note, those of you that are board members, you should have another email, might be in spam, that says you've been added as a speaker for this event if you want to switch over so you can do more than just ask a question and listen. And I don't see Michelin. Okay, Erin, are you ready? We have Erin Starr White, who's the Director of Community Education for BRIT. She's going to share with us, and I am going to turn it over to you.
So guys, I'm glad to be here, and I'm having a little bit of performance anxiety because I've never used GoToWebinar and I don't know how to share my screen.
So there's a little thing at the very top.
Okay,
There's
so my
all these
screen.
little arrows and it says sharing, and then you should be able to share your screen.
Okay. Let's see if this works. Do you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
We do.
dang it. I was hoping that this would. There we go. You see it now?
We don't see the presentation.
What do you
I think
see?
you have to choose which screen you're going to show from the control panel. There's a little drop down.
Yeah, I'm looking. What do you see now? Nothing?
We see like your desktop.
Weird. I'm glad there's nothing strange on there. Yeah, well, yeah, I was trying to show it so I could see my notes, but I don't think that's going to work. So I will just show you, maybe. No, I
Yep,
can't.
we can see that.
Okay, but now I can't see it.
You can't see the
Okay,
notes?
you can see it now?
Yes.
Okay, whew, all right. So let's start. Glad to be here. My name's Erin Starr, and I'm the Director of Community Education, as was said, for Fort Worth Botanic Garden BRIT. And I wanted to give you a little quick presentation. I'm actually filling in for our VP of Education, Tracy Friday. She went out of town with some other leadership, and I think they just got back like 10 minutes ago. So here I am. So let's begin, if it will let me. I do want to point out that BRIT is no longer just BRIT. It's Fort Worth Botanic Garden BRIT. We have a really long name right now. And our mission is to explore, explain, and display the plant world to enrich lives and conserve life on Earth. So you have a nice image of our campus there. And Susie, before I continue, how much time do I have?
20 minutes, 15, 20
Perfect.
minutes.
Perfect. Okay, that's what I planned for. So
Good.
you see our campus there. That is the Welcome Center on the left with the conservatory. And then to the far right, we have the BRIT building with its lovely living roof. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But I'd want to just give a general overview of the organization and some of the things we do. We have a lot going on, as most organizations do. We merged together. BRIT became the nonprofit manager for the Fort Worth Botanic Garden a year ago in October. And so we have welcomed a new CEO. His name is Patrick Newman. He's been with us probably about 7 or 8 months. And as you can imagine, the cultures are merging together to form a new culture, which has been likened to more of like a marathon rather than a sprint. And it's going quite well. So we are over 115 acres now. It's a really big botanic garden compared to a lot of botanic gardens. It is rustic and cultivated. We're often compared to the Dallas Arboretum, which is a whole kind of different, it's kind of apples and oranges, as you guys know. And we are part of the Fort Worth Cultural District. So of course, right down the street from our 3 amazing Fort Worth museums. We feature over a dozen different gardens. Some of the most well-known, I would say, are the Japanese garden, the Rose Garden, the Fuller Garden, and then some really quirky small gardens. My very favorite would be the Cactus Garden of our small gardens. If you've not seen it, it is just to the left of the Japanese garden, and it's tiny and wonderful. The greenhouse for that garden has the most amazing specimens that kind of look like aliens with spines on them. So worth a visit. And I am lobbying, it's not going to happen, but I'm lobbying to, as I tell you about our upcoming renovations of the garden, to turn the old Japanese garden parking lot into an extended cactus garden. But I don't think they're into that. So we are home to the country's largest begonia collection. And if you ever want to tour that, just let me know. It is remarkable. It's a giant greenhouse of species begonias and then a giant greenhouse of hybrids. And it's pretty amazing. We also have a sizable orchid collection, and we have art throughout the garden. So if you have been on our campus at all, which I'm sure most, if not all of you have, if not, please come. I'll give you a tour. We have a lot of outdoor sculpture. Here are just two examples that are really kind of whimsical and well known. We have our frogs on the left. Andre Harvey is that artist, these two matching frogs that are kind of dancing on either end of that reflective pond with the water lilies at the front. And then as you go into the fuller garden, we have this really fantastic piece called Solar Disc. And I'm blanking on the artist's name, but it's in my brain, so I can tell you about it more if you'd like to know more. So throughout the garden, it's sprinkled with outdoor art, much of it made by local artists. So the three pillars of the organization really are horticulture, research, and education. And I'm just going to touch on each of these very briefly. There's a lot that are involved in all three, as you guys, I'm sure, are aware. Horticulture, here's a lovely photograph of our Japanese garden. This is...
Hey, Erin.
Yeah.
Can I interrupt for a second? I don't know if anyone else is having this problem, but I don't see your slides advancing.
Oh, okay. They're
Me neither,
advancing
too.
on where, what do you see?
I see like the dual like speaker view, like one slide is big and the other is small up in the corner, but it's still the main, your title slide is still up.
Interesting.
I wonder if you need to like switch what screen you're sharing.
Yeah, probably. Let's see. So you're, I'm not clear on what you're seeing. I'm confused.
I just
It's
see your
the
title
title thing.
slide.
We appear to be seeing what you would be seeing, which is the black presenter framework that's usually the behind the scenes view.
Right. Oh, yeah, you guys
So
shouldn't
if
be
you
seeing
click
that.
display settings, you may be able to change that.
Let's
But we're
see.
still on slide one, or I should say slide one is the one in focus.
That is so
But we can see your
strange.
next slide as well.
Okay, yeah, you guys should not be seeing that. So when I go on display settings, both options are kind of grayed out. It's not letting me choose those. So I think I might just start.
Display settings in PowerPoint is grayed out.
Is there another display settings?
At the bottom, the one that looks like a monitor cut in half.
Yeah, no, this is good. Okay, that, I clicked on that and it just made the screen go black.
Well, we don't see the all black. We were still.
This is so bizarre. Okay, I think I'm just gonna exit out of this totally.
Erin, I think it might be which screen you selected in the control panel for the webinar. And that's what we're seeing.
Hold on just a second. Okay, what do you see now? Kind of
Same
a
thing.
general. So nothing's changed for you?
No.
Huh.
Oh, have you changed it in what's showing on the webinar panel?
Hold on, let's see. Oh.
Sorry to make this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can also try sharing your slides if you would like.
Well, the thing is I need my notes, but I might just have to wing it.
Right. Well, you could have your notes up and I could be sharing your slides.
This is
Yeah.
true.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, no, I think that was Becca. Becca, let's just do that. That's a lot easier.
Okay. Well, let's see if I can share.
I just made you the presenter. Becca, you should be
Okay.
able to share.
Okay.
And you have to, it said there's a show.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Give me just a second. Show my screen. All right. You see the presentation?
I do.
Yep.
So let me,
It's not in,
There we go.
there we go. Perfect.
okay, we're good. All
Sorry,
right,
Erin.
it's okay.
We're not always this much of a mess. It's usually a little
No.
less.
This is putting me off of ever trying go-to for my programs, but it's so interesting. Okay, so I do want to show you those slides. Let's go to the third slide if you would, Becca.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. This one?
Yeah, art in the garden.
Okay.
So that's what I was speaking of when I was telling you about the two sculptures out front, just so you have a sense of what it is. A lot of times when people walk through the garden, they sense that there's art everywhere, but they don't really know what to do with it. And I found, and this is not a new idea, that the art and the plantings, the design, they complement one another because landscape architecture and art use the exact same elements, principles of design. So that's pretty wonderful to see, especially as the seasons are changing. The pieces change along with the seasons and the different color that's put out. All right, we can go ahead and skip ahead to the 5th slide that says horticulture. There we go. So there is where we left off. And this is our Japanese garden. And I'm going to focus on the Japanese garden with horticulture. There are so many things to look at, but we need to be focused here. So we are embarking upon campus-wide renovations beginning in January. We're going to have a lot of things happening in the garden. The old garden road that used to be kind of the main road that connected the larger garden with the garden center will be renovated. That will be turned into, rather than a street, it will be still, you can drive down it so we can have emergency vehicles, but it will be cobblestones and lots of plantings going along so that it's much more pedestrian walkway. We're wanting to make it much more friendly for pedestrians because we were a car-free, pretty much, campus other than staff. The Japanese tea house is going to have a remodel, and our moon bridge, which you see here, will be rebuilt. And we've been waiting for this for a really long time, so we're super looking forward to it. Just a few facts about the Japanese garden. It was completed in '73, and I got to go through some old photographs a couple days ago of the site before it was the Japanese garden. Unbelievable what's changed about it. It's been totally transformed. So this is a strolling garden, has lots of really nice winding paths, ponds, tons of bamboo. How many of you have been there recently? Just show of hands. Charlie, yeah. So there's the bamboo is going all around the Japanese garden. And with the February storm, we lost every inch of that bamboo. We had to cut it all down. And all of us were super sad. And within 3 months, it was back. It looks like it was never touched. So the regenerative powers of bamboo were on full display. And this is a garden. For Japanese gardens, it's a little atypical because it's so large and it is a strolling garden. It's not something that it's not a garden you just look at from a specific vantage point, a fixed vantage point. It's something that you get to experience. So it's really special. And of course, throughout the garden, we're going to continue to upgrade the beds and the plantings and all of the seasonal color that will be changing. So it's always good. I think every day is a good day to go to the garden because you're going to see something completely different. Next slide, please. So we have horticulture, which is one of the backbones of the organization, and the other is research. And I have two, I think, really neat photographs here. On the left, we have a lichen, and on the right, we have a researcher in the field collecting specimens. And this is why I need my notes, because I'm not a researcher and I work in education, not research. So I got my notes from my research friends to let you guys know what they're doing. I would say fundamentally, in order to conserve plant life, we first have to have an understanding of that plant life. And that's where our researchers come in. They focus on the science that makes future conservation efforts possible. Traditionally, our research is really centered around our herbarium collection. And the herbarium, if you've not ever visited it or know what it is, it's a giant library of dead plants, is the way I describe it to people. It's exactly what it is. We have over 1.5 million specimens, and you can tour the herbarium. All you have to do is make an appointment. It's free. It's really wonderful. It's just like, envision like a very academic library with the stacks that roll back and forth so you can get into them. Our herbarium is just rows and rows and rows of those. And within each row, there's thousands and thousands of specimens. And these specimens are very simply a piece of paper. There is a dead plant pressed onto the paper, and then all of the taxonomic information is recorded. The location where it was taken was recorded. We had a super cool kind of nerdy thing last year. Nerdy if you're into plants, so you guys will probably be interested. One of our researchers was looking through some of the stacks and came upon the ferns and was looking through a bunch of ferns. A lot of our specimens have not been cataloged yet because there's so many. And so they were in the process of doing that, and they came upon a specimen that had been collected by John Muir, and it had his signature, and we were all super excited. And there's a blog post about it on our website, of course. And so to get back to the researchers, our scientists study floristics, taxonomy, and systematics. So that is what plants grow where, which is floristics, how to classify and name them, which is taxonomy, and then how they're related to each other evolutionarily, which is systematics. And our researchers get to go to some really interesting locations around the world, one of them being Texas. We focus really heavily on native Texas plants and conserving them. They also go to Colombia, Madagascar, the Philippines. We in Texas are looking primarily at prairies and forests. And so we also have a living roof, and that will be on I think a couple of slides. No, it's on the next slide. If you can go forward one, please, Becca. You can see our living roof. And it's kind of challenging to see it if you're just driving by on University really fast. But if you go into the parking lot in front of the BRIT building, which the BRIT building, if you don't know, you go into the Botanic Garden, the main entrance, you look to the right, and it's a big beige building. And so on top, we have really wonderful native Texas plants. Once a year, I'll be sitting at my desk because I work in the BRIT building. And all of a sudden, I see cactus pads falling from the sky. And this is because two of our researchers have access to the roof. They're the only two people that can go up there. And they are gardening. They're culling, they're taking off all the dead matter. They're removing things that maybe don't need to be there or that have maybe gotten too big and are starting to fall over. And so it's pretty funny to see cactus pads falling from the roof. So if you only remember one thing about our research department, it's that we study and collect plants from all over the world. And doing that gives us a lot of crucial information for how we can save those plants. And I will add that we have a small seed bank that we've started for Texas native plants that are really endangered. And that is an ongoing project that we're really proud to have. Next slide, please. Next, I'll talk about something that I don't need notes for. This is actually my department, the adult education department. And we are really dedicated to inspiring people to think about plants in all sorts of ways. One that I'm super interested in, and I know you guys are too, is food. And how do we equip people to think about perhaps growing their own food, where to locate good sources of food, going to farmers markets. We have fantastic one here, of course, a couple fantastic ones. One is, I think, the most fantastic one that I go to regularly. And, just introducing people to the plant world and what it can do for their lives as far as health, of course. And this is physical health, mental health, emotional health. I think the pandemic has really brought that to stark attention that we've always needed nature and plants, and now we really know we need nature and plants because of isolation and all sorts of things that have happened during the pandemic. So we offer classes in 4 separate categories. The first is horticulture and gardening, and those classes that are listed are 3 that are coming up in January, February, March, the first quarter of 2022. You're getting a sneak peek because they're just now going on the website. We also offer botany and nature classes. Some of the researchers that I mentioned that go to the living roof and prune the cacti also are teaching botany school. If you've ever wanted to know more about botany and didn't quite know where to start, we're going to have a spring semester. It'll be 5 classes. There will be on the evenings. So if you're interested, you can go to our website and check it out. It's BRIT.org is the website. So I always want to give people, if I can, a hands-on experience for classes because of course it helps them learn more. We do things like, here we have a really loyal student that comes to a lot of our classes pruning rose bushes. We're going to do that in February. We do it every February. One of our rosarians teaches this wonderful workshop, and then he lets the students loose on our rose bushes, which is always really fun. And people are super scared they're going to kind of ruin the rose bushes. Hard to do. And I will say one more thing before we move to the next slide. Everything I do as the director of the adult education program, which is part of the larger education program, is to build a sense of community and to bring people closer to nature and science and creativity and wellness. I think community is it. Without that, people aren't going to stick around. Next slide, please. We also have food and wellness classes. So in the spring, we're going to have a really, I think, exciting workshop, Foraging for Native Edibles. We're going to bring a gentleman who wrote a book about foraging in Texas up to Fort Worth. He lives in Austin, and he's going to also lead 2 foraging walks at Tandy Hills, which I think is going to be super rad. And healthy meal planning, yoga, lots of yoga. People love yoga in the gardens for good reason. And then botanical arts and crafts. We have a lot of art classes, watercolor, drawing, things like that that are very popular. And I feel like I might be low on my time here, so I'm going to move on to the next slide, which is education. We also work a lot with schools and kids and family programs and teachers. Our garden-based early childhood and school age experiences include field trips, of course, outreach programs, workshops. We work a lot with the Girl Scouts. We offer different camps in the summer. We also do a lot of teacher professional development, getting teachers the information they need to incorporate things that they can see in the garden into their classrooms. And I do have to announce, after the pandemic placed camps on hold for 2 years, we're going to have an all new lineup of summer camps for 2022. And they'll feature multiple areas around campus, and they'll cover topics from bugs among us to nature journaling and engineering in the garden. So we're always trying to incorporate STEM principles within the programs that we offer. And these are really adorable kids harvesting veggies from our backyard veggie garden, which we use extensively for our school and teacher programs. And the next slide are just 2 also adorable photographs. These are like our 2 ambassadors on the left, Carlos the cactus and Bella the begonia. Bella is real popular. She kind of sells out. My colleague Cheryl Potemkin takes her to lots of elementary schools and works with the early childhood population. And then on the right, we have some kids engaging in nature play. We're getting ready to break ground on our prairie outside the BRIT building on a nature play area where it's not a jungle gym. It's more like logs and dry creek beds and things that kids can just play with that are natural. There is an element of risk involved. And that's going to be something that's really cool coming up for us. So we can offer that to children and families. And the next slide, I want to go over just a few exhibits that we have coming up or have already that you might find interesting. As I mentioned, there's a lot going on at the garden and kind of something for everyone. This is called Stickwork. It's an art installation by an artist named Patrick Doherty, and kind of magical. This is in our Fuller Garden, and it's 5 or 6, I believe, structures that you can walk through, and they're made of saplings that were collected here in the North Texas area with permission, of course. We didn't poach saplings, but we had permission from the city to go to different parks and collect. It was like roughleaf dogwood, and I forget what the other sapling was. And that'll be up until kind of it falls down. So it went up. Doherty put that in the week of the February storm, which that could not have been fun. And it'll stay up, he says, usually 1 to 2 years until they start to fall apart. So definitely check that out next time you come by. The next slide shows you another exhibit that is loved by everyone. It's our Butterflies in the Garden exhibit. And we're bringing it, we couldn't do it last year, of course. We're bringing it back this year. It starts in February. And we have the beautiful blue morpho butterfly there that everybody comes to see. We're also going to have a lot of domestic butterflies, which I'm excited about because then we can talk about conservation. You know, the plants and the pollinators always going together. And then the next slide is a really whimsical exhibit that we're bringing into this summer. This is called Big Bugs, and it's exactly what it sounds like. They are giant sculptures of bugs. So we're going to have ladybugs, some ants, a praying mantis. I hear a spider's going to be there. So if you have kids, that's probably a really great thing to bring them to. And then 2 more slides. If you're interested in learning more about what's going on at Fort Worth Botanic Garden BRIT, we'd love to have you subscribe to our newsletter. You can do that on our website, again, which is brit.org. And then you can follow us on social media. My last slide is just a real nice image of the garden. And you can look up Fort Worth Botanic Garden or BRIT. Either of them will take you pretty much to the same place. I don't know if we have any time for questions, but I'm happy to answer any.
We do have a question. Charlie Blaylock has a question. And he says, 10 years ago, there was a big focus on water conservation at the Botanic Gardens. We're getting twice as much rain each year for the past 5 years. How has this changed the discussion and planning of the gardens? And do you have the expectation that the rain is going to end and it'll change the gardens again?
That's a good question. And Charlie, I don't know. I need to find out. I know right now is a super interesting time at the garden because we just finished a strategic plan and we are working on a master plan. And the organization, the company, the firm that we're working for the master plan, I'm going to be part of a meeting with them next week and I'll ask them that question. It's something that I'm interested in. I've not heard anything about it. And so I do know that on the BRIT side of campus, you know, of course we have our bioswales, we have our retention pond, things like that are not in place on the garden side of the campus. And my hope is that they will be incorporated, but I'm not sure what the timeline is for that. So yeah, good question. I have no idea. But I didn't know that I've learned something tonight. I didn't know that we'd had twice the rain the past 5 years.
Yeah, I guess I was just wondering if that's the kind of the conversation that comes up, like, well, let's advance this and develop it, but it could stop raining at any moment, and then that changes everything.
Yeah, we're like, oh, well, yeah, I don't know. I do know so much work is being either has been done at the garden, is being done, or is being planned. A lot of it was like pretty unglamorous things like irrigation and drainage and things that the public will never really see. But that's all I know about the water as far as how we're looking at water right now.
That sounds
Anybody
great.
else?
Let me check questions. I don't see any other questions at this point.
Okay,
So-
I will say before I stop speaking, I will say if any of you have ideas of how we can engage with things like urban agriculture, please reach out to me. My email, I'll put it in the chat. It's ewhite@brit.org, ewhite@brit.org. We are interested in incorporating urban agriculture in our education programs as much as possible. We have an outreach program for underserved middle and high school students called Green Revolution. My colleague Damika Bisco runs that program, and she is interested in really exposing these kids to all sorts of career possibilities in STEM. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a botanic garden. So part of that is urban agriculture and how they can get involved in that. So if any of you want to share ideas or talk, we would love to talk.
I bet some people will have some ideas, some thoughts about that on the
Wonderful.
Fort Worth side of things. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you, Erin, for powering through the technology issues.
It worked out. Thanks, Becca.
Yeah, thanks for
Yes.
the support, Becca.
It was Brenda's idea, to give her credit, but yes, thank you, Erin, and so sorry again for all of
It's
that.
okay. Go Brenda. Brenda, Susie, and Becca. Yeah.
All right, we're going to move into some quick working group and committee updates. And then we'll do nominations and voting, and then some other updates and announcements and questions, and then we'll announce our voting results. So we're going to do voting in the midst of all of this. Working groups, CGUA, do you guys have anything to update?
Yes, I can update unless unless Dave is about to join us, but let me pull something up. He was running a little late today, so I've got the notes here. But we had a nice meeting a couple weeks ago on the 18th, I believe. So we heard from Kent Bradshaw, who has a new project in the Benbrook area called Funkytown Farm. And so he gave us a presentation about that farm. I believe they have a website or a Facebook page. I'm not quite sure on that, but if I can find it, I'll send it in the chat. They have a good property that they are going to be using to teach young adults, high school students about growing food, and have kind of a mentorship program and a program where they can get paid over the summer to do some work, things like that. So they're hoping to have students starting in June of 2022. So they're still pretty new and they're developing their programs and things like that. But it sounds like it's going to be a good project. I'm excited to see what they do. We also got an update from Mary Jo Green. If y'all know her, she's very active with school gardens. She was in a bad car accident in October, and she is recovering. She will have to have a couple surgeries, but she's going to be fine. So if you were thinking about her, that's the latest update we have. So we were glad to hear that. Lauren Hickman, who is here today, gave us an update about the Community Garden Network at Tarrant Area Food Bank. They have lots of garden projects who have gotten started this year and are continuing to grow with the support of Tarrant Area Food Bank. They're also looking for leaf donations that can be brought to the Learning Garden. And if you have a source of manure, some of the partner gardens are looking for a good source for that. Laura Miller announced that they're hiring a position at AgriLife Extension that will, it's SNAP-Ed funded, and they will help focus on school gardens. So Robin, if I've messed that up, you can let me know. But I heard that they heard the need was there, and so they posted a position for it. They will also do other
this week, so it'll be filled pretty soon.
Nice, very cool. That's awesome. And then Grow Southeast has started their Farm Apprentice program, which I know Charlie is participating in, helping to teach some folks how to farm in Tarrant County. Mind Your Urban Mind Your Garden. Is that right? Mind Your Garden? Is that the name of the project? Charlie?
Yes.
Okay. They are developing some healthy hours rather than happy hours. And I know that Alexandra has spoken with them, and Jesse's here and he'll give an update more on Grow Southeast in a minute. So I won't talk too much about that. And then to end the meeting, we talked about our favorite Thanksgiving dishes and the memories associated with those foods. So that's from CGUA. Sorry, that was long.
Thanks, Becca. Children's Health, anything to report?
Good afternoon. I'm Alexandra Thurston with the City of Fort Worth Neighborhood Services Department. I am one of the co-chairs of the Children's Health Working Group, and here lately we have been working toward getting a policy implemented so that restaurants will de-emphasize sugary beverages on children's menus. At this point in the process, we have been researching our current mayor and city council as we experienced a high rate of turnover this last election. So at our next meeting, which will be on December 15th at 10:30, we will be reviewing our findings and moving into the next stages of our itinerary. If anyone is interested in attending that or any future meetings of our body, our email address, oh, of course it would pop off my screen, is children'shealth@tarrantcountyfoodpolicycouncil.org. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thanks, Alexandra. Food recovery, you guys have anything to share? I don't know if we have them with us. They are not here right now. Communications, fundraising, events, and education, membership, anybody, any of the committees have anything to report? Anybody?
Nothing major from communications. We'll just keep working and let you know when we have new stuff to put out.
Yeah, sounds great. I know, it's still weird to try to get things done, and some things have been put on hold for various reasons. Okay. So let's move on to nominations. And Soraya, let me see if I can open this without causing any other problems.
Okay, because I do not see a way for me to present my screen.
I have to give you the option. So let me see if I can do
okay.
that.
I see it. Okay, on air. Ooh. Can y'all see my presentation?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Oof. Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Oh, no, there we go. Can you see this box right here? Okay. No. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry. There we go. That worked for everyone. All right. I can't see anyone, so if you can't see my screen or if the slides don't move, please let me know. My name is Soraya Deeby. I am currently the chair for the Tarrant County Food Policy Council Nominations Committee. Also joining me on the committee is Dr. Gina Hill with TCU, as well as Harrison Gibson with the TASTE Project. I don't think either of them were able to make it today, but they also served on the nominations committee this year. We do have 3 open seats on the board, and fortuitously have 3 candidates that have been nominated on the ballot. So what I will do today is scroll through a slide for each of the candidate with their bio and background information that they provided with their candidate packet, and spend just a minute on each slide. This is the same information that will be shown in the SurveyMonkey link that we will be using to actually vote. So I did send that into the chat, and I see a little chat red box come up, so maybe someone else has posted in there. So there is also 2 open seats on the executive leadership positions on the Tarrant County Food Policy Council Board. That is for both the chair and vice chair, and we have 1 candidate that have been nominated to serve in each of those positions. Just to note that Tarrant County food policy members are eligible to vote. There is no cost to join as a member, but if you have any questions regarding your membership, please feel free to email myself at sadbi@nctcog.org, or just drop a question in a chat and we can answer that. So the link is presented here for where to vote. And now, I did not have my phone in front of me. So now I will continue to the candidates for each of the for the board positions. So I will set a timer for 1 minute for each of them, and spend 1 minute showing the slides. So the first candidate, Lauren Hickman. And this is her bio and why she'll serve, as well as the Tarrant County Food Policy Council projects that she's actively would like to work on. So 1 minute to show this. Oh, sorry. All right. The next candidate that we have, up for the board is Bree Mabry. All right. And now third candidate for the Tarrant County Food Policy Board is Sabrina Vidari. All right. So next up, we have our candidates for chair and vice chair. These are currently standing members on the Tarrant County Food Policy Council board who have met the requirements in the bylaws to be able to eligible to serve as in the chair and vice chair positions. For chair, Becca Knudsen, who's currently the vice chair, has been nominated for that as in that candidacy. And for the vice chair position, Catherine Nicholson, who is, as I mentioned, is currently serving on the Tarrant County Food Policy Council board. And so, as mentioned, these are all the positions that we have at, that we'll be voting on at this time. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And so if you could please use the link to SurveyMonkey that was provided in the chat box to be able to vote. We ask that members do that as soon as possible so that we can send the results by the end of this meeting. Which, to be fair, I'll need to message Gina since she set up the SurveyMonkey. And if she's not on right now, I'll just need to see if we can get it. If not, we'll send an email afterwards, after the meeting, to let the result.
That makes sense. Yep.
Is it done on the Food Policy Council SurveyMonkey account?
No, I believe she did it with the TCU SurveyMonkey account.
Okay. Otherwise, I could log in and look at it. So as y'all are voting, Jesse, if you would like to share a little bit about Grow Southeast. I know someone had asked if you would give a little bit of an update and an explanation about Grow Southeast, and that way we can give folks some time to collect the votes.
Sure, I guess I can give it a little bit. Charlie, is there anything you want to start us off with before I get into it?
Nope, go ahead. I'll just be chattering like a fly on the wall.
All right. So I guess to start off from the top, probably the most exciting and recent news is we launched a farm apprenticeship about 5 weeks ago. We are in week 4 of training. So this week, the applicants or the candidates, apprentices, sorry, losing my words, had a wonderful opportunity to learn how to use the BCS tractor, how to use the tiller on the BCS tractor, and thanks to Charlie's genius tinkering skills, how to actually jumpstart the BCS with a pickup truck. So way to go, Charlie, on that. Over the next 9 months, they will be learning various techniques on how to grow. So we're always welcome to have visitors come out just to check them out. We do the class every Wednesday from 9 to about 12-ish, just depending on what's on the agenda. So you want to come out, take a look, or if you want to come out and get your hands a little bit dirty, we always have a need for additional hands, especially when we're having to rake up weeds or grass. So it's been exciting. The second most exciting piece of news is that Blue Zones Project has awarded us a grant to build out the electrical infrastructure at Tabor Farms. For those that have been following our journey, you know that Tabor Farms has been a long 4-year journey to get them into production. This latest grant will give us the electrical infrastructure to actually power our irrigation pump, which means we can start growing. Fingers crossed, if everything goes as planned, Encore will have their electrical service done in the next 6 weeks or less. Once we get that, we can install the meter to the pump. Once we get that, we can do the irrigation itself. And then after that, we can start having fun. So we'll probably be broadcasting volunteer events here in the near future. We'll probably need a few hands for the irrigation. I'm assuming we'll need a few hands to do some planting and some prepping. And we'll also be doing a volunteer event, I think early January 2022, to plant roughly 24 trees at the farm. I know Blue Zone is going to have a heavy part in bringing volunteers, but I think we'll probably have some room to bring a few extra hands if y'all want to get dirty helping us plant some trees.
So we did plant some garlic out there. We already started them with garlic beds, and we used a hardneck variety so that we can get some garlic scapes as well. So we're doing those just natural rainfall style and relying on winter soil moisture. But so in 8 weeks, once we have everything done through Encore, we should be able to get them started on a regular spring schedule with onions and potatoes in early February.
Yeah.
Loud breather.
Let's see, with the Black Wall Street farm, for those who haven't been following, we launched that farm in May of this year. They're doing pretty well. We installed a drip irrigation system roughly about a month and a half ago, and they are currently getting some nice crops growing. Robert has had a reoccurring group of volunteers come out every Saturday. So anyone that's interested in volunteering directly with the farm, just let me know and I can get you in contact with Mr. Robert and we can coordinate that. At the moment, we don't have any projects planned for them, but I'm hoping that'll change in 2022. Mind Your Garden Urban Farm has had a lot of updates. As previously mentioned, they are looking to develop a concept called Healthy Hour, and the premise is to try to create social events where we can celebrate and cultivate healthy living habits. This is going to include doing plant-based recipes and also looking for alternatives to alcoholic beverages where we can socialize and celebrate these habits. They will be looking for volunteers to participate in these healthy hours, to provide feedback, to help us figure out how to do it better. We'll also be looking for volunteers to go directly to the farm to help them with building out some of the later phases of their project. They also received the grant through Miss Linda to do an outdoor kitchen. This is going to be used to help them with the healthy hours and also with bringing other educational resources to the farm. They're also working on doing a really interesting casita Airbnb. They're hoping to use this as a means to generate alternative revenue for the farm. And then if everything goes as planned, we're hoping that they'll be starting production again, hopefully by first quarter of next year. Outside of that, the only major needs that we have in the future are going to be at Tabor Farms. Even though we've come a long way and this irrigation infrastructure is huge, we still are looking for storage facilities. I think the preference for right now is to get a shipping container out there. We're also looking for help with building a fence. A 2-acre site does cost a lot of money to fence in, so we're looking for any help and resources that we can get for that. And then the last piece of capital infrastructure that we need to close out our process with the city of Fort Worth is a parking lot. The last estimated value was at about $30,000. So we're open to ideas on to help us get that constructed. And I think that's it. Charlie, did I miss anything?
No, that's enough. We're busy enough. That'll do it.
Yep. I'll go ahead
Thanks for
and
the update.
I'll put my information in the chat room. If anyone has any additional questions or wants to get more involved, you can reach out to me.
Oh, did you cover Opal's farm? I think our big update with that was that we have we've upgraded their pump, so now they're much more functionally irrigating. They were kind of stuck in a requirement of furrow irrigating, which is definitely not the best way to do it. And so we've upgraded them to a pump, and we're putting in a filter to allow them to use sprinklers so they can germinate seeds a little better. So that's, and they're still turning out green, so it's a good time of year to still be working.
Yep.
All right, that's fantastic that all of that is going on. Does anybody else have any? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say I was able to touch base with Gina. Unfortunately, she was having some technology issues, but she did check the Survey Monkey and was able to see the final results. So, drum roll.
How many people voted?
She said that 11 people have voted.
Okay. Is there anybody, before you announce the final results, I want to make sure, I was late in answering a question about, somebody asked if, anyway, we sent the link again via the questions. So I just want to make sure if there's anybody that has not been able to vote, who was planning to vote. Because we have a few more people on this webinar that have voted. So I just want to make sure everybody has a chance to do that. So are there any other announcements? And so before that, Soraya, are you able to have Gina check again, or do we need to wait?
She just hit the road.
Okay.
So I can have her, we can touch base and send it out afterwards if that works best.
I mean, I'm open to what, if somebody else has another opinion, but might be good to wait till everybody's had a chance to vote before we announce the final results, just in case there's something unexpected happening.
Yeah, no, sure thing.
Okay. Are there other, okay, Lauren just posted in the chat that the Tarrant Area Food Bank is hiring. There's several positions open, if anybody's interested. Other announcements? Becca?
I forgot to mention the CGUA's next working group meeting is on Thursday, January 20th at 3 p.m. And Dave will send out the link for that. So if you want to be on the email list, ask Dave.
Alexandra?
Yes, adjacent to people's need for food is their need for other potential or potentially their need for other social services, and Community Action Partners, which is the community action agency for Tarrant County, is still accepting applications for service for this year. You can apply online or download the mail-in application at fortworthtexas.gov/CAP, as in Community Action Partners. Thank you.
Thanks, Alexandra. The Texas Organic Farmers and Gardeners Association Conference is coming up at the end of January in Georgetown. At this point, we are planning to be in person, talking about a virtual option. Nothing's set yet, but you can find out more information at tofga.org. And then there's a 2022 conference option across the top, and you can get more information there. Other announcements? Things to share? All right. Well, again, I really appreciate everybody hanging in with the technology issues. We learned some things today about this version, this particular way we set up the GoToWebinar. And I appreciate y'all hanging in with that. And thanks again. I've really enjoyed being a part of, continuing to be a part of the board for the Tarrant County Food Policy Council. I'm looking forward to a new position in the next year. And we did, I was going to share that we've gotten some funding that the council has not had previously. One from a private foundation that's connected, that's part of our Vista, hosting a Vista, and then also some funding from Blue Zones that's going to help us do some different things, kind of grow the organization a little bit in terms of our structure and functioning and things like that. So it's pretty exciting. So look for some new things in the coming months as we get a lot of that online.
And then board members and our new board members, once we have the voting results, you should be looking for, there's a poll on, we're trying to get everybody together in person in January for a little brunch, coffee type of thing, just to meet everybody and get together since we haven't seen each other in person in quite some time. So there will also be, I guess the January board meeting will be a joint board meeting. So anybody who's leaving is definitely welcome to attend that and do some transition of responsibilities.
Yes, and our next council meeting will be February the 3rd at 4 p.m. So keep your eyes out for that. Any last call for announcements or comments or reminders?
I'm just gonna let everyone know now, board members, we're gonna be doing our Meet the Board communication campaign again. So please be on the lookout for an email from me asking for some info and a picture.
Thanks, Catherine. All right. Well, we will adjourn and we will see you all via email and in January and February. Have a great holiday season and Happy New Year if I don't talk to you. See you, what have you.
Bye, Susie. Thank you, everyone. Thanks.